I also noticed that you're using a strange currency there throughout. Typically, people will start iterating in USD or the most popular currency. So why this
Yeah,
particular currency and why that strange number? Like, is there a particular
that's a
reason behind
great
that?
question.
Folks, today we have Murari Jha from Headout with us. And again, I have the honor to work with Murari on a day-to-day basis. And today I wanted to bring to you folks a project we've been working on for months now, literally, right? It's been months. There's just so many details into it. And I've spoken a little bit about on Abhinav's channel, Abhinav Chikara's channel. And today I wanted to do a deeper dive and get the designer who worked on that project on board and see what Murari thinks about it. So welcome, Murari. What's up?
Hey, thank you, Siddharth, for having me here. All good. How are you?
Good man, lockdown. As usual
Yeah, yeah.
lockdown. So
Yep.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask Murari we're gonna start with basic questions. And Murari, do you wanna walk us through what these product cards are? How they've been used? What are we talking about here? And why did we even need to redesign it?
Yeah, sure. So, a product card is an item on any product or any website, you can say, right? Where users come, right, and they check what the product is about, and then they make a decision that whether should I go next, check the product, and should I book it or not. So those are the product cards. I can show you an example as well, like how product cards looks like. Oh, this is how a product card looks like, right?
Right.
So we have a lot of product cards on our website. So this is something where users, see what details are there, or they make a decision whether they should check the product or not, and then they book.
Right.
So these are the product cards. Yeah.
Right. So, product cards exist on a bunch of interesting places, like almost all e-commerce sites have it. And they are fairly common, right? If I'm a designer starting out and I haven't worked on something like product cards, my assumption will be it's like login and sign up screen, right? It's a standard thing. It's an OTP screen, like everybody has it, and you just copy paste it, right? Right. So why is it that simple looking product cards has been taking us months? What did we like? Why did we even need to touch them? They look just fine.
There is no simple problem in this world. So regarding this product card as well, we had a lot of problems, like the scanning thing, the spacing thing, the
Do you want
contrast,
to
and
show
all the
us?
readability.
Can
I'll
you show us and walk
definitely,
us through?
yeah, I'll definitely do that. Just let me share my screen and I'll do that. I'll show you what were the problems and how it was looking like. So here you can see all like how the current product cards on mobile app, right? And you can
Right.
see the spacing, you can see the contrast, you can see the colors. There are a lot of problems. See the spacing here. See, we don't know whether there is 31st views in last 4 hours. Like, what is the logic behind this? We have a lot
Okay.
of boosters, it's trending or 20% off. So we don't have any logic for that. So those are few problems. So consistency is a problem. So we have on mobile, we have this favorite icon on the top right, but on desktop,
Right.
we don't have any favorite icon, right?
Right.
Sometimes we use this, walking tours or the tour category here, but sometimes we not, right? We have a
Right.
lot of different types of product cards. So here we use the carousel one. Sometimes we have the search cards. So a lot of them are here. So it's not simple. There were problems like consistency, reading, scanning, spacing. A lot of problems were there. So these are the few problems which I am telling you right now, which made us to redesign it. So you can see the favorite icon, they don't have any background here, the circle background. But on the
Right.
mobile, we have.
And the rating looks very different.
Rating looks very different. So this is related to consistency. The spacing is spacing are also a little bit different on desktop if compared to the mobile one.
Okay. Makes sense. And I noticed that as a practice we do that, and most of our viewers won't know. If you go back to the Figma file,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first page itself is
Mhm.
something called audit, right? Can you
Yeah,
speak
yeah,
to
yeah.
a bit about what is this audit business and how does one do it?
Definitely, it's my favorite part these days. So I love Headout because of this reason, because we document everything, we do audit. So with audit, we find the problems, or the area where things are breaking or things are not working. There are UX
Mm.
problems. So that's why we do the audit thing, so that we can get to know that what we need to redesign, what we need to solve, right? So
Yeah.
we do the audit, we find out the problems, and then we think like how we should solve those or not. So here you can see the things like how, what were the questions, right? Why we are redesigning? So these were the problems why we are redesigning. So there were consistency issues, different types of cards, readability issues, and all. Then we have experience types, we have guided tours, success tickets, and each of them have different types of card, right? So you can see in this audit, here are the example, right, of few cards. You can see here how different they are from each other, and you can see like how a search card looks like and how a standard card looks like. You can
So what
see,
is a search card? What is a search card?
yeah, search card is something when you search for any product or item, right? You go to the search part, you type anything, let's say Disneyland, and you search for that. So in that case, you get these type of cards where we show like the result related to that search.
Right, right, okay.
And then we have different types of cards. Sometimes we use this carousel one or the scrolling one cards. Sometimes we use the full size single card. Sometimes we use the 2 column cards, which is for search mostly. So you can see
Mm.
here the types of card as well, right? So
Right,
this is what UX audit help us with, like what to solve, how many things are there, what to check, what not to check. So these are the thing which we do in UX audit.
right. So figuring out all the problems that exist, and
Mhm.
all the standards that exist, all the types and users that exist, sort of get
Yeah, because
everything on the same page. Yeah.
yeah, because the information, the each type of product cards have different information. The IA changes according to the type of card. Let's say if
Right.
I have a standard card, I have a rating and that title or price, right? But when I switch to descriptive cards, which I am going to tell you later in this in our talk, right? So there are no ratings, there are nothing, just text, no images. So it changes. The information changes according to the type of card as well.
Right. And as I understand, once we get the audit, as we can see clearly, we have everything we need to get started, what the
Hmm.
status quo. We then start, and I've written an article about this and made a video about this as well, that we start building a framework, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And a sort of system around, solving these problems.
Correct,
Can
correct.
you walk us through like what is the process of like defining the system? Like how do you even get started, and how does the system evolve?
Yeah, yeah. So after audit, we have a lot of idea about the item or the problem we are solving, right?
Mhm.
So after the UX audit, we jump onto the next step, which is the framework kind of thing, right? The where
Mhm.
we uh, build a framework about the issues, use cases, or journey, the entry points, and all, right? What
Right.
kind of elements or items each items has, or the let's say I'll start from here. Let's say the entry points, how entry points start from the product cards, when and what time user come to here and what they do, right? So they'll sometimes they search on Google, sometimes they come on our website. So these are just the process, right?
Mhm.
Like how, when, and customers use the product cards, and what are the entry points there, right? So you can see here the search journey, browsing, navigation, and all. And after that, what we do, let's say if product card has a lot of items like images, identification, which we call title and all those, I'll tell you this as well, the price, the boosters, and all. So each one have multiple items as well. So let's say media
Mhm.
might can have like images or multiple images, single image or multiple images, right? Media can have videos as well, which we are planning to bring those in future or in coming future, right? Then
Right.
we can have mixed media, sometimes the image and the video both. Then we have overlays. What do I mean by overlay? So let's say you have a video or image, and on top of that you show those favorite icons, or you show some kind of boosters, let's say trending or bestseller. So these are the overlays. Then we identify what kind of content might come right on the product card. So we have title, we have variant of title as well, right? We have variants like category or subcategory as well. Let's say this is a tour, or this is a guided tour, or this is a activity. related product, right? Or this is some kind of tour or guided tour or activity. So those categories and subcategories comes in identification. Then we have location. So let's say I'm searching for a product, like let's say Disneyland. So Disneyland are like in multiple cities in the world, right? So how we are going to tell them which country it belongs to, which city it belongs to. So we have location as well in identification. Then we have, sometimes we have descriptions as well, where we show that what it is about. And then we have price. In price also we have multiple items. Sometimes it's strike of price when we say it was before 400 euro, or now it is 380 euro, right? So we strike of that price. Then we have sale price, which we calculate after the discount and all. Then we have discount in range, like how much discount we are giving the users. Then we have the expiring thing as well. In some cases discount is like going to expire in few minutes or few hours or in few days. Then we have special discounts like festive season. So let's say in our case in India, we have Diwali. So they also have Easter and those kind of things. So we show those kind of special festive discounts as well. Then we have cashback as well. So these many information, you can see, how detailed it is. So we work on all of these, like what might be there, what can come, and what not, right? Then we have boosters. In boosters also we have a lot of boosters. You can see here, bestseller, last tickets left, selling out fast, a lot of how to logically set them. We'll come to that part later, but you can see the information, how much content and how many information we do have here. So all of these we cover in framework, right? Then we have availability in some type of products. Let's say we are selling the Broadway tickets. So there we show like when it is available or when it is not. We show like on which days it is available, right? So you can see all of these here, all of the contents. Let's say this concern a use cases as well. When we can, you can see here relevance, selections, and results related things. So basically in framework, we bring all those elements or atoms which can fall in a single type. Let's say in media, how many type of media. Let's say in identification, how many types of identification. So we cover all of those in framework, and then we proceed to the next step.
In case of prices, it's quite clear how those variables are grouped, right? However, like what was it obvious in the first step that this is how these groups will look like, or were some groups easier to make groups out of than the other? Like, how did that process look like?
It was not earlier, it was not like that. We didn't know that how it will look like. So what we did, we contacted a few stakeholders as well. We asked them that what kind of things can come here, right? So a few of things we didn't know that how they will come. We discussed it in meetings. Let's say the special discounts, we didn't know about that, or I didn't know about that, the design team didn't know about that. So what we did in each meeting, we discussed things like, we are working on this is a chunk, what can come, what cannot. So yes, earlier we didn't know a lot of things, and while having meetings with stakeholders and all with other teams, we got all the items that let's say this could be. So still, you can see in pricing also, still we are missing something which we have in other document, which is called group pricing. So this is how in the meeting we find out that what are the things missing there, what are not. So yes, earlier we didn't know, but after having meetings discuss with the other team, we got it.
Right. So what is our, now we have even better understanding of our problem statement and what elements and atoms we are dealing with and variables we are dealing with when we are solving and designing these product cards. So what is the next option? Like, when do we start iterating? When do we get to design things? Like, what happens next?
Yeah, again, when we have all the items, right, we have all the problems, like what a problem is there, what type of items are, we move on to the, again, we are still in the framework section only. And there we, visualize like how things will look like with different types, right? So let's say we were discussing media before in the framework option, right? So I'll show you in framework option, we'll discussing all this. So how it will look like. So we visualize things, right? We see how and what kind of things will look like. So here you can see the media and all of the items are here. Like what if there is single image, what if there are multiple images, just the video or mixed item, image overlays, all kind of thing, right? So the next step is we visualize, we do things like we create items where we put each and every thing, and we show how it will look like when one of the item is not there, or one of the item is not available, right? So you
Okay.
can see here in identification as well, we have the category here, right? Or booster, we don't have the category here, so we show all of this. Same with the price, like how many types, like if cashback is available, how it will look like, if everything is available, how it will look like, if discount is not available, how. So each and like each scenario we create, we visualize like how it will look like. Here you can see I was talking about the group pricing, right?
Right.
So same with the boosters, how many boosters can come, and what boosters available, what boosters not available. Same with the availability, like I was telling you different type of availability. You can see here that it's Monday, Tuesday, Friday, right? In some cases, when it is written Monday, Tuesday, Friday, it means like these are available on these days, right? But if we don't have available on few days, we say that Monday and Tuesday not available. So we create all the scenarios and visualize that how it will look like, right? So
Right.
that it would be easy for us while we are going to jump on the visual design or the iterations of next thing. We create kind of wireframes, you can say. You can say without images or without information. You can see here as well. So this part where we visualize like how it will, all the content will look like in a screen, right? So let's say this is a card I created with merging all these content or all these data here on this identification price and all, right? So how this card will look like in a frame, or like look like on the in the screen, right? So this is the second part we do, and then we find out like is there any weird cases remaining, still remaining, right? So we look out for weird cases. So let's say in our case, the weird cases, sometimes we have this category or this title the same name. I can show you
Mhm.
that as well. Let me find that. This is the real data, real content. You can see this category is like longer enough, longer than the title. Doesn't make sense, right? It's weird, right? Sometimes
Right.
we have the name and the category is same. Why we are doing this? These are weird cases, right? So we when we have each and every data, we look out for weird cases, like what might happen if things are like same, or things are repeating, or is there any weird cases we might find, right? So these are the things we check on the next step.
Right. And it looks like, we're creating a multi-level system already. Like first, we created with elements and taking those atoms, like a pricing system, display system. We created a booster
Yeah.
display system. And now we are creating
Yeah.
a second order system on top of that, that how
Hmm.
do these, not only do these elements come together to make a card, but how
Hmm.
these cards come together to make a layout as well. So they are
Yeah.
roughly like
Yeah.
3-4 layers of system building right there.
Yes.
But how did
Yes.
we decide, can we dive into like one of the examples and dive into like how did you construct one of these layouts and the card within, like what was the logic and thinking behind that?
Okay. So in that for that thing, right? The construction thing, right? When
Mm-hmm.
we have all the items, like let's say in product cards, we have all the items, we have ratings, we have title, we have images, right? So when we have all the items in our hand, so what we do, we merge them, or we place them together, right? To construct the whole item, like how a product card will look like, right? And then we decide, on which places they will come. So let's say this can come on landing page, right? When a user lands on the headout page, or this can come on the category or section page as well. Let's say there is a section called bestsellers. So I'll click on
Okay.
bestsellers, right? So on bestseller, I might not find this. I'll go on that screen. I can find it like S2H kind of thing. You can see here this S2H card, right? So here, this is the category or a section page where we say new arrivals. And when a user taps on new arrivals, they see this type of cards, right? If they are on the landing page or the home page, they see these kind of cards, right?
Right.
So this is how we see like how after constructing with merging all the items and create a card, right? We place them in different scenarios, or places where we have those kind of cards, and we see how it will look like. So this is how we do that thing.
Right. It's very interesting because it looks like in audit we went by, all the cards that are there, where they are, and then we derived use cases, and then we derived all the all the list of variables and the information that we need to build product cards. And then it looks like the process happens in reverse, Then first we
Yeah, yeah,
take those variables, then we build system around that.
exactly,
Then we build a
exactly.
system around product card. Then we build a layout again, and then we try in different use cases. It's like taking the going deeper in the detail, and then taking the same course back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very interesting. So at this point, have we decided like where what information goes? Is this finalized? Like, is this how much of this information is final? Like, is this a styling that is going to go finally? Is this the final information that will go, or is it just like a rough idea and a suggestion at this point?
See, after doing this much of work, we know that the placements and all might be changed, right? Because that is the part of visual, right? How it looks, the priority and all, what is that, right?
Right.
But we have all the data which we want to use. But again, we are not sure because while working on this, we are still meeting and discussing things with other stakeholders. So we are not sure how, what kind of logics are there with with any item. So let's say I was talking about logic, right? So I'll tell you this. You can see this 48 views in last 3 hours. So how it comes? Let's say I have another booster. We call these boosters, right? So we have another one. Last 5 tickets remaining. So how we will decide which booster to show here? How we'll decide which booster to show here? So we still don't know because there are a lot of teams involvement there. Sometimes like developers are there. Sometimes category managers are there. We designers are there. So yes, basically it's 70% done, you can say, not 100%, because still few things are remaining which we can do while doing the visuals.
Right.
Behind the scenes we can do that, right? We can discuss and we can see. So still it's not 100%, it's 70%, you can say, with the fixed items and fixed data.
Like what was the next step? Like, did you jump from here to visual design, or like how did we get started with that?
Yes. So after doing this, basically we jumped onto visual design. We started doing iterations with a few basic iterations here and there to change the position or see how a product will look like, how many characters we should decide for the title, how many characters we should decide for the category and all. So yes, we started doing the visual design. We started iterating things. First of all, the very first thing which we did, we removed those like card looking like the card things, right? So you can see here, these are the
borders
have a base, borders, and you can say, right, because there were problems with these boxed kind of layout, because things were going here and there. Sometimes if I have a 2-liner title, then ratings goes down, and this also goes down, then this makes a lot of white space here, which is a problem, which create a problem scanning the card, right? So the first thing which we did was whether we should go boxed layout or we should remove the box. We should go clean version of that card, right? And which is easy to scan, which is easy to read. So the very first thing which we did, we took a decision to remove the border or remove that boxy kind of layout, right? And then we started what items are there, how will they look like, right? So we started from like, can we call the favorite want? Can we just show a tick mark? Can we call it something else like wish list or something? Then we started doing these kind of things. We started like whether we should keep it like the border radius 4, 2, 3, or we should go with the like that sharp edges, right? How it will affect the user. Those kind of things we started thinking in the mind. And then we placed all the items and looked like how it will look like. So you can see, obviously, these are iterations. So you can see here, this is want, this, with the checkbox, like tick mark and kind of thing. This is want with plus, right? Then we had, boosters here.
There's also like guided tour and attraction, and there's a difference. These are
here. You can see, the super saver and guided tour. You can see. So these are the category plus boosters. So we decided whether we should go with these or not. So these are the few iterations, whether we should keep one only or we should merge the booster, or plus the category, or should we keep only one? So you can see here a lot of content there, which we thought like it's hard to consume, right, for a user,
Right.
because a lot of content and data is going there. Which one they will look for, right? Is there any priority? Is there something we can know that what is very important for them or not? So these kind of iterations we did. You can see here it is wish now. Previously it was want, right? So we are calling it wish. Still, this is not also finalized, right? These are all iterations. You can see. Then we started playing with the placement. Sometimes we keep kept the star ratings here, right? Sometimes we did here. So there was one interesting problem with that as well. So with the placement. So when we started placing the rating below the card, I'll show you that iteration, which is this. You can see here, right? We played with emojis as well. There were problems with emojis; those were not visible on the screen. The scale was very low, so it was hard to go with emojis. Also, there were concerns like what we will be using for 3 stars, right? What we will be using
Right.
for 2 star? What we will be using for 5 stars, right? Those kind of things. Then you can see here, the rating placement. So few of the team member raised the question, or they suggested that this looks like one like looks like they were comparing with one of our competitors. So this was looking like with our one of our competitors, they said. Then we went and checked like how many competitors we have, and we look for, right? And then we checked how they are doing these things, and we found out like they were using the placements for stars everywhere. So on some pages they were using here, on some pages they were using the ratings here, on some pages they were. So this was not a main concern, because if we are placing it anywhere else, again our competitor were using those at that placement. So these kind of problem we got, these kind of things while doing the visual design, we got the placements, the icons. Should we do the icons for boosters as well? So let's say for trending, can we use any icon? So we find out like for boosters it was pretty hard to use icons, because it was hard to understand what icon it is. The kind of boosters we have, we can definitely create the icons, but it was hard to understand what kind of icons. I have one iterations for that as well. I am not sure whether in this file I can find that or not, but you can understand what I am saying. Icons were pretty hard to understand without the label. So we decided to go with the label only. And we also thought like, can we use multiple boosters? Can we use like 2 or 3 boosters at once at a single place? Let's say trending and plus something else, right? So those kind of things, came here in picture while doing the visual design, right? What kind of icon we can use for wish list, which I was telling before as well. What would be the placement for booster? So you can easily say, see here that this is also a booster, this is also a booster, and this one is also a booster. So 3 booster on a single card. How to place those? What would be the placement? Like, what if I have trending and bestseller both? Why bestseller is here? Why not bestseller is here? Why not trending is here? So we created a logic which I can show here as well. I have that sheet which I can share with you, that how the booster logic came in a picture, right? And what we did. So you can see here, right? We created a category for all the boosters. So let's say there is one category, what's special. So in what's special, you can see bestseller is there, highest rated is there, trending is there. Then we have scarcity and urgency boosters, where we say, last seats, this X seats remaining, selling out fast. Then we have features as well, like let's say instant confirmation or mobile ticket available. Then we have discount. So we, categorize those boosters in few of the category, right? And then we decided which category will come at which place, right? You can see the placement as well. So we call it like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, right? So this is where you can see this is L1. So L1 falls in the what special category. So always whatever is falling in, in the what special category, that will come here. Then if we don't have, we have 2 what special, right? We have 2 what special. Then what we will do? So we decided to, if we have 2, we can, fix the area of L1 and L2 for both of them. And then for L3, we fix the area for scarcity and booster. So these kind of things we came in the picture, right? While doing the visual design, that how it will look like the L4, what we'll be using in L4. So you can see the placements, the logic, the badges, and the items of category. You can see here, that how we decided to go with that. So these were the tasks came in the picture after while working on the visual design. We knew it before as well, but we were not in the deep of this while we were doing those audits and frameworks. So that's why I told you before that 70% were done at the framework thing, right? And then came everything came in the picture while doing the visual design.
So while developing the visual design, we developed our systems, we defined our framework, we did the information architecture, we built a bunch of systems and logics around what happens. And there's an interesting thing you mentioned that I wanted to dig deeper into. Like, there's an example you gave of the kind of consideration we were taking. For example, I understood well how borderless can help. But we're also talking about rounded corners or not rounded corners. Like, how will that affect the user? So can you give elaborate a little more on that example? Like, how do you decide between something like those two options?
Okay, so obviously, whenever we are designing something here at Headout, after each part, we discuss with the team. We share our thoughts, like what do you think, what I think, why we did it. So in that, like those meetings or discussion, we came to know that sharp edges were, not easy for eyes, right? It was like sharp, and the round edges were quite smooth and easy for eyes for users, right? And it was making a difference as well. So on the screen you can see everything is sharp only, like the edges and all. So what if we can give the image a roundness, right, so that it stands out? Because in travel industry, if you don't have images, you it's hard to sell the product, right? Images plays a big role, videos plays a big role. So we wanted to make it stand out, right? We wanted to make it smooth or easy for eyes. So that's how we did it. That's how we discussed with the teams and all. We got a lot of thoughts, and that's how we came to this decision, like we should do this or not.
Right. And I also noticed that you're using a strange currency there throughout. Like typically people will start iterating in USD or the most popular currency. So why this
Yeah,
particular currency, and why that like strange number? Like, is there a particular
that's a
reason behind
great
that?
question. Yeah, that's a great question. So whenever we are designing, right, anything, right, especially at Headout or the team here, right? So what we do, we check with those pricing or those elements which are, which I was telling before as well, like weird, or it can increase like a lot of numbers. So let's say if it was euro, you can see here, it's Korean, price, right? Which we called wrong, I think.
Korean won, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Korean one. So if it was a dollar, it would be like 46 or 469. But if it is in Korean amount, it will automatically increase the digits and all, right? So we how we did it, like we tested with the longest length of the price, longest thing, like how it will. So easily we could have done like with the dollar price, but in that case we were not, like we would have missed that point. Like what if there are a lot of digits there, right? So
Right.
that's why we changed the price, and we came to know that the won is the longest digit price in our system for now, at least. So we
Right.
decided to go with that in design, at least, so it doesn't break anything.
Right. Awesome. Makes sense. And like at this point, I can see, like, if can you zoom out just to show us how many iterations are there?
Oh Jesus, a lot of you can see here. A lot of iterations are there. We have another page as well for this. I don't want to show you, but yes, we have another page. If you want to have a look, you can see here. I'll go to that page as well. You can see the iteration page, right? This was the very first iteration we did. So here you can see a lot of them, right? See here and there, a lot
Wow.
of things are going on.
Right. So how do you decide between this whole lot of iterations? Like, I can imagine, one, you get a feedback, then you iterate again, you get a feedback, so you naturally get so many iterations, right? And now that, because we have Figma, we keep all of them. But how do you decide, like which is the winning iteration? How do you start freezing on them? Because you can keep doing this forever.
Yeah, obviously. So design is something like that. You can keep going and going and going. You can't find. So yes, according to that, in like when we are discussing things, when we are designing things, we fix items. Let's say I'll say for rating. I was telling you the story, like with the competitor, right?
Right, right,
they had like the ratings each like on every page at different locations, different places. So we came to the point, it doesn't matter like where we are keeping it, if it's, understand, user can understand this, right? User can read this. So it's fine to keep it here, right? So those kind of decision we took, like this is the last one. So according to the data as well, let's say I was talking about the booster logic, right? What if we didn't know the logic, right? So now we know the logic and we know the placement. So we decide that this is final, we are going to do something like this. So we have logic, we have a valid reason for doing things, right? So at some point we decide to fix, like this is it, we are going with this. If anyone has concern, we share with it with the team, right? We ask them that this is something we are going with. If anyone has any concern or any suggestion, he can give us to us, otherwise we'll be going with that thing, right? So this is how we decide to go with the thing or not, to stop,
right,
like where to stop the iterations or not, right?
right.
We tell them. So someone can say, what if there are 3 lines of titles, right? So for that only we decide, like we use the heuristic, we use the UX heuristic or visual heuristic, that people can't, we should not give like a lot of multi-line items, right? So we limit the characters. Let's say we are going with 80 characters only in a title, right? So we have finalized, we convinced everyone, right? We are all on the same page. Then we decide nothing is going to happen, we are not going to make it 3 lines. So that iteration is done, right? So this is
Right.
how we decide where to stop. This is how we discuss things, and after a conclusion we stop working on those things. At least we only work
Right.
with the styles. What do I mean by whether we should keep it bold, we should keep it light or not? We work on that only. Otherwise everything is fixed. The placement, the character limits, so all those things are fixed.
Right. And at this point, you said when we make people come to a conclusion, we drive that conclusion as a design team. Is everyone happy with the final decision? Like, is that the case? Like, whenever we come to such a conclusion?
No, sometimes it's pretty hard, it's very subjective. People
Right.
have their, a thing in their mind, especially with us designers, right? We
Right.
all us have somewhere in some corner, like favoritism. We love something, right? So obviously we are not on this, like not everyone likes things, right? So we have to decide whether we should go with that thing or not. So let's say out of 8, 3 team members are saying this is not. So we ask them why they are not, you know,
Right.
agreeing with us, why they are not saying that this doesn't look. They give us the reason, we give them the reason, and somehow we see a lot of people are convinced with what we are saying, and few of them are who are not convinced. It's sometime that very subjective. So I will say yes, not everyone is happy, but again, which is good for user, which is good for the travelers, at least for us, right? We do those kind of
Right.
things. So yes, not
So,
everyone is
right.
happy.
So it is important to get everyone to come, and to inform everyone and get and keep everyone on the same page. But
Mhm.
it is impossible to please everyone with iterations.
Yeah,
In the
yeah,
end, you have to
obviously.
separate objective feedback. And I think another layer I would like to add there is there are stages, like in the early iteration stages, we are taking feedback about everything, and whatever suggestion comes, we go ahead and iterate
Yeah.
the hell out of it. Like we go
Mhm.
all corners, like how will this bestseller you see in this top left, but we have tried all 4 corners, right?
Yeah,
Somewhere or
yeah,
the
yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah.
That is how it is in early days. And then eventually, because we have done all those iterations, all exhausted all ideas, we
Mhm.
become more confident of the final emergent winner and the trade-offs within it. And that
Yeah.
we as a design team, we have a better view of those trade-offs.
Mhm.
We have a better view of
uh,
those trade-offs than than the rest of the the rest of the team that who might not be working on this project. And an interesting thing that happens is that like Murari was talking about, then we keep limiting the area of feedback, right? Early the feedback is open-ended, like you can give feedback about everything, and eventually
mhm.
then the feedback reduces. Okay, now we are only taking feedback which breaks, like is a major concern, like that we have not
Mhm.
considered before, or is an aesthetic concern, right?
Mhm.
Maybe try this,
Mhm.
maybe try that, right? So that's where it's limited. Like try bold, try red color, try green color, and it remains to those sort of iterations. And eventually we start limiting those as well as we build systems
Yeah.
around that. So my next question is like, before we start, we actually get to, the conclusion of like what
Mhm.
see the final winner, and then talk about
Yeah.
how we give this software engineering. I wanted to
Mhm.
quickly note about, like, we already spoken about the challenges throughout, but is there any other major
Yeah, yeah,
challenge, your favorite challenge that you want
yes.
to highlight?
Oh, yes, yes. I would definitely start with the nomenclature thing. So I'll share the sheet, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm calling this, I'll just let me go to that page. I'm calling this standard card, right? Someone might call this something else, just a card, just a product card, just a image
Right,
card, right? Then we have somewhere full width card, which we are calling full width card, right? But they are
right,
calling it something else, S2H card, full size card. So the biggest challenge was, which for me was in this project, was the nomenclature thing. I'll share the sheet with you as well. You can see the card nomenclature, and this happens with everything at Headout. We name things so that everyone is on same page. So you can see definitely, like, clearly see here what kind, like, card types, right, and their names as well. So in basic product cards, we have search cards, standard cards, and full size cards. So we discuss with the team and we tell them that these are the names we are calling it, so that everyone is calling with the same thing, same name, right, and everyone is on the same page. So these are not, they are not confused, we are not confused what items we are talking about. So I'll
right,
definitely say that one of them was nomenclature, naming the things, right?
hmm,
Why we are calling it boosters, why we are calling it L2 or L3, right?
right,
The second thing which I faced, like, I thought, it's really challenging, was the logic sheet for boosters, which we were discussing before as well. The second challenge was the booster thing only,
right,
like how to place them, what category they will fall in, what should we call that
right,
category or not, right? Then the third challenge, which was, it's a pretty good challenge, right? You have a lot of data to show on product card. Should
mm,
we limit or not? Should we limit things or not? Should we show all the boosters? Because we had a lot of boosters, 10,
mm,
12, 15, 16, right? So how to, create that design, or create something which is simple at the same time and very easy to consume, right? That was also a challenge. Then,
right,
we the another challenge was, we don't have single product card, as I was telling in the starting as well. We have different types, and for each type the data changes. So I'll show you one of the card as well. This is one of our micro brand, right? You can see the card here. This is also a product card. We call this product descriptive cards, right? Which you can see in the nomenclature as well somewhere. So in this card, what happens is, you don't have images, you don't have, star, you don't have ratings. It
mhm,
We sell it on the information only, right? We are redesigning this as well. We redesigned this,
right,
uh, so those kind of thing, how to create things which will help us here as well. So let's say these things you can see, right? These are the descriptors. How many would be there? Should
mm,
we limit it to 5? Should we limit it to 3? Sometimes it's 6, right? Who are building
right,
this? Who are creating this? Do they have any idea why and why not, right? So
right,
those kind of problem I found doing the product cards, right? So
right.
obviously these 3 or 4, nomenclature, booster logic, right? These different types of card, keeping everything simple and consumable by user, right? These were the challenges for me.
So,
Yeah,
what is the final so far? I know that the final keeps changing, as
yeah,
you all know, and thanks to Figma, we don't have to rename, final underscore 300,000 .psd. So,
yeah.
what does the current final look like? Like, can you give us an idea of that? And
Yep,
what
yep.
are some decisions?
Yeah, obviously you can see here the final version of the design here, right? So you can see clearly, like, how we decided to go with this icon, right? We tested each and everything, right? And then we decided whether it will work or not. How it will look like if there is a white image, would it be visible or not, right? So this is the final version which you can see here, right? How it looks like. Everything is clean, everything is fixed. The character limit is there. The boosters are there, right? You can see the booster here. You can see the pricing discount here. You can see the category here. You can see the booster here. So everything is in place, and it looks very clean, neat, and consumable as well. So this is the final version of standard cards. This is the final version of full width cards. How full size card, which we call, right? So this is how it looks like.
Right. And an interesting thing I noticed, there was Dubai and there was bestseller. Like, can you
Yeah.
just quickly like talk about what is
Again,
that?
Yeah, very interesting question. So this is the global page. So when a user, lands on headout.com, they have
Mm-hmm.
not selected any city or any place to look out for, right? So in that case, our main priority to tell users are like this experience is falling in which city or which country, right? So this is the most important part in that case. So we show them like this experience is in Dubai, this experience is in some other place. So this is a global page. So it depends on the page as well, like which page you are on. So let's say I was on the global page where I have not selected any city, but in this case I already selected a city, right? Let's say
Right.
London or something else. So top experience in London. In that case, we don't need to show them the city because they already chose one, right? They know that where they are. So in that case, we can show the booster and all. You can
Right.
see the same screen here as well. These are also the same thing, but different functionality or interaction. So this is new arrivals or category. Let's say here I'm saying new arrival. I'll go into this, right? In new arrival can anything, an attraction, a cruise, or anything, right? So in
Mm-hmm.
that case, also we show the category like
Mm-hmm.
this is related to attraction, this is related
Right.
to cruise, because new arrivals can like have anything,
Mm.
events, those theaters kind of thing, the attractions and all. But when you choose city passes is city passes only. So in that case, we have opportunity to show boosters, not the category. So we show trending, we show super saver and all, because they know they are in city passes. They don't, they know it's city passes. This can't be attraction. This can't be anything else. These all are city passes. So in that case, we use the boosters to make a decision. Like users can take a decision.
Wow, awesome. That sounds like a really comprehensive outcome. And uh, now, like, what I wanted to close with is like, as I can see, like, it's not live right now on
Yeah,
headout.com, and
yeah,
we are in
yeah,
process of developing them. It'll
yep.
get on some time, but are we ready to start coding them, or are we planning to test them? Like, what is the next step, and how do we, let's say we go out and decide to launch these, right? Uh, how do we know that they're working better or worse than the existing cards?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for that, we have like a few hypotheses for that, right? Whether this thing will work or not, or will this be a priority for user or not? So we have few hypotheses we want to
Mhm.
test, right? And for testing as well, I'll show you the chart or things how we do it, like at Headout, right? So you can see the concerns and plan how we do it, right? You can see like what we are going to do. So we'll do a gorilla testing, right? We will go out, find users, we will do some qualitative and quantitative both. You can see this chart, it's really interesting. You can see what items we are going to test, right? We decided to test because that's and what our hypotheses are with that item. So you can see the rating placement is that item, which our hypothesis is not hard to notice, but few of the team members think like it's hard, right?
Right.
So it's not just us, it's not just us like designers, it users, there are users who will use it. So these are the hypothesis items, their hypothesis, and what kind of test we are going to, whether it would be a qualitative or quantitative or both. So you can
Right.
easily see the chart here how we decide to go with that. So definitely we are going to test those kind of things,
Mhm.
quantitative, qualitative, both. So this is the plan.
Right. And unfortunately, when we were about to head out to test something, COVID-19 came and hit us and put us all at home. So
Yes,
now we're
yes,
gonna figure out an
otherwise.
online way to do this. Uh,
Yeah, you can
uh,
see here that online tool as well. We
right,
wrote those kind of thing as well, that will go online.
right. And maybe sometime we can talk about, let me know in the comments, folks, if you want us to go deeper into this chart and understand how do we decide that this should be gorilla or this should be something else, or why not card sorting or use something like that here, or how do we decide should it be qualitative or a quantitative or a both sort of test? What is the logic behind that rationality? We can dive deeper into that as well in a future video. And so that brings us to the final conclusion. Murari, thank you so much for walking us through this project, an ongoing
It was
project at
pleasure.
Headout.
It was a pleasure.
So and do follow Murari. He's creative MJ on Instagram. and Creative
On
NJ
like every channel, you can call me Creative
on
MJ.
Twitter, on TikTok, on
Yeah.
Instagram. I convinced Murari to get on TikTok, as I do with the rest of my team. So if you're, I mean, that should be the new job application portal, Murari. Like,
Yes, yes,
if you want to
Richard.
apply to Headout, like use your TikTok account
Yeah.
and show us what you're doing there. Show us some talent there, like either design or cooking or dancing. You gotta check out Murari's
Yeah.
moves on his TikTok and his creative
Instagram.
experiments on Instagram. And let us know what else would you like to know from Murari. There's a lot more projects Murari is currently working on. For example, we are working
Yeah.
on a design system, which is
Yeah.
fairly comprehensive, and it is very unlike other design systems you would have seen, where component and styling is tied together. But in this design system, we are decoupling styling and components and the
Yeah.
functionality. In upcoming videos, maybe we can talk about that, but we needed to reach a certain stage of maturity before it's ready to talk about. So
Definitely.
again, thank you so much for joining in, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You'll find all the
Thank you
related
very much,
links in
Siddharth.
the description. And Murari, please get us for our listeners here and people who are watching. Can you make a public file, a public version of this
Yeah.
Figma file?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
some of these items we can like the framework part and the final outcome part, people can go through and try to
Yeah.
understand and dissect it
I would
themselves.
love to. I would love
And
to share that.
I will link to that Figma file again in the description. So do check that out. And again, thank you so much for watching.